the development of those. Obviously, you've got in Michael Bennett and Chris Conley, two guys that you know you can count on pretty much every snap if you needed them to, both physically. The third spot is one that seems like that's been an interesting spot. Do you feel pretty confident about your rotation at this point? You're still evaluating that kind of stuff.
We're evaluating, and the thing about the group of guys that we do have, the guys that are returning from a year ago, is that they all can play the various positions. And so, we've got pretty good depth as a result of that. So it doesn't matter who you put where. We have that flexibility. So, but if you just said, okay, who you gonna line up in that first 3 or 4 wide receiver set, I tell you, it's still up in the air. Not because we don't have the talent. It's because the competition's really been good.
About Isaiah and we did the other freshman receiver you have. How are they done?
It's been a lot thrown at them, and they've had to make a lot of adjustments. And then with school starting, you can imagine what that's like. But I think they've handled the transition. They've handled the pressure of learning what to do. They've handled it. Some have handled it better than others, and that's always the case. But what I like about them is they don't seem to get rattled, and that's important. Just don't get rattled, and just understand it's a learning curve that we all have to go through. So, and they've handled it pretty well.
That's big for you, though. To have got to keep it cool like that.
Sure it is. That's what you like. That's what you expect, and that's also an indication that they have a lot of confidence in their abilities, and in themselves. So I like that now.
When you talk about 3 or 4 receivers and guys contending, who's contending?
Well, it's more than 3 or 4. I said if you were playing 3 or 4 wide receiver sets,
right.
we got you talking about Michael, Chris, Jonathan, Reggie, Tibbs, Kenneth Towns, Michael Erdman. Those guys got experience, and they're working really hard right now. And I don't think I'm leaving anybody out. But those guys are working hard, and so one would have to believe that Chris and Michael, will be there. Where they'll line up, it depends on what we're doing. But it's a competition. Blake Tibbs has really been a pleasant surprise this preseason. Reggie got slowed a little bit with injury to the finger, but Reggie was certainly having an outstanding preseason. Jonathan, has been able to stay healthy. And as a result, he's been able to, learn the system better and get better in some areas that he needed to improve upon. And so, and Kenneth Towns has been, been a little inconsistent in catching the ball, but he'll be fine because he cares. So when you look at that group, just that group of returning players, it's a good problem to have, because they're competing. And they know that no job is won, so that's a good problem.
What have you seen from Langley to this point on that side?
You can tell he's athletic, catches the ball extremely well, outside of his frame, which is, sometimes tough, but it's an indication of his body control and his hand-eye coordination. And he's got, has really good speed. He's got to learn what to do. Right now, he's struggling. I think he's learned. He's coming to understand or have a better appreciation for the receiver position, and because it's so vast, and he's having to learn that. He'll tell you that he's having to learn all the little nuances that enables him to do things easier and make his job easier as a wide receiver. But he's coming along really well. We think he'll be able to help us.
And with Hedges, I know he's been out a good bit.
Yeah, it's been tough for Charlie because he hurt that hamstring early. So his focus has been getting well. I know prior to that, I know every coach that's responsible for a phase of the kicking game has, had him penciled in because of, he can run, he's got great size, he's smart, so those are intangibles that you look for. So once he gets healthy and he starts to, be able to practice consistently, then we'll get a sense of where he can help us.
So no redshirt for him. You think he'll be on
we never think about red shirt with anyone. I mean, come on, y'all been around here long enough to know you one play away from being on the field, so you can't think that way.
How about your kickoff return? It's hard to miss number 16, I believe it is, with the number 1 unit this past Tuesday. Is that a glimpse of what you're thinking about right now?
Well, you know, it's again, that's another good problem. You got Todd, you got, when Malcolm's healthy, you got Malcolm, Justin's done it, Reggie, Sony. I mean, we get a really good problem to have. Last year we had to play 5 guys back there because of injuries. I don't want to play that many guys, don't misunderstand me.
Yeah.
But we got a good group to choose from, and right, we got a couple more days to work, and then we'll see who we're gonna put back there.
Is Todd a possibility? Are they going to let him go out there?
Everyone's a possibility. Yeah. Anybody that can help us win.
Recently, Hudson Mason made a comment that sounded like Jonathan Rump's more in key to the playbook than he was this time last year. Are you getting the same feeling from Rump out there?
Well, he's been healthy, and as I said earlier, because he's been healthy, he's been able to get more reps, and as a result, he's been able to learn more. So that's a direct reflection, or correlation, I should say, to learn the system is being able to get reps, and he's been able to do that.
Is Conley okay? We didn't see him during our time.
Yeah. He's he was out there earlier, and Chris is I know he hurt his shoulder back a couple of weeks ago. And so we've just been I've been really bringing him along slowly, but yeah.
That a case if he's an experienced guy, he can miss a few reps if he has to.
Yeah, you would think you won't have to wear him out. You would think. He and Michael, kind of in that same boat. You would think that you can, get them a break, And I try to give them a break, but now they're both them guys. Now, when you try to give them a break, now they kind of resist. So you kind of have to look at them and say, hey, man, just let me handle this. Let's let somebody else get some reps because they always want to go.
Couple more questions, guys.
I guess a big difference that reflects right on your guys' unit is the switch from Aaron Murray to Hudson Mason. Just from your point of view, what are you seeing on the timing on your receivers with Mason up to this point now?
Well, Mason is not like he's a new quarterback. Mason's been in the system now, 5 years? Mm-hmm. So everyone knows him. They know what he expects. He knows every guy. So it's been a very, very easy and smooth transition. And again, he played last year, the 2.5 games a year ago, and has gone through the spring. But he's been here 5 years. He knows the system, so it's nothing new.
We've heard the name Blake Tibbs a lot from coaches, and Damian mentioned him yesterday. What about him has changed so much as far as how he's come along?
Well, maturity, Blake is going into his 3rd year, and it takes sometimes it takes them a little longer than others to mature or to find their niche, if you will. And I think he's gotten to that point where it's important to him.